want to talk to you a little bit about a piece of gear here. Hard to see, but this is the wool Anorak by the Wandering Parson, coming out of Pennsylvania. Just breaking in. Just breaking in a new silky saw as well. It's the silky big boy. 2000, I think. So far I like it, but that's not what this is about. This is about my wool Anorak by the Wandering Parson. So, kind of difficult to get a view here. Here's a quick look at it. I'm out in the backyard here. Might see some glow from some of the houses way back past the trees, but essentially we're in somewhat of a small forest here, but it's a quick little in the field view of it. All I'm wearing underneath of this is a very, very thin Patagonia fleece and a t-shirt, and I'm rocking this thing. It's 30, I don't know, it's about 28, maybe 30 degrees. Cold enough to where the wood is actually frozen. And feeling pretty warm, but I'm also cutting wood, and I've been out here for a little while chopping some wood. And you know what they say, wood warms you twice. So you get warmed up when you're cutting the wood and warmed up when you're burning the wood. So I'm gonna cut this log down here, split it, and probably pick up again when we're inside. I'll give you a little bit of a better look, but it won't be nice. All right, guys, here we are back in the house, and I just want to give you a little bit of a better view of the wool Anorak by the Wandering Parson. Here is the logo here. This is made out of a 90% wool, 10% polyester blend. I'm not exactly sure of the weight. Roughly was, I think, about $200 was the cost for this. Shipping was flat rate, I believe $16. The gentleman that makes this is a priest that lives in Pennsylvania, a small town in Pennsylvania, and he primarily works with the church as his job, primary career and purpose, and he makes these on the side. It's pretty cool stuff. I like to give as much of my money as possible to small vendors. So a lot of my backpacking gear, a lot of my, pretty much my backpacking gear is all usually bought from small companies, with the exception of a few things. My hammock is from Dutchware. My tarp is from War Bonnets. I have a couple of their, other pieces of gear from them, same as Dutchware. I use a ULA circuit pack. A lot of these kind of small backpacking companies. And I do a lot primarily of lightweight to ultralight backpacking. And one of the apprehensions that I had with buying a wool Anorak was the weight. So I've had my eye on these for quite a while. I do a lot of bushcrafting as well, just practicing wilderness skills. And wool has for a long time been one of the primary outdoor fabrics that people have used. But given its weight, it was always sort of one of those things that seemed like it was more of a niche piece of gear for me, and something that I wouldn't use all that much. lately I've been doing a lot of winter backpacking. For the past several years, I primarily have been going out mostly in the wintertime. I really haven't done very many summer trips. And a lot of this is due to the time constraints that I've had, and I've had to learn about what to do and what not to do as far as winter backpacking goes. So, with that being said, this year, knowing that I was going to be doing a lot more winter backpacking, I decided to, kind of start taking a look at these again. I've always been drawn to the wool anoraks. I've seen them from like Leicester River Bushcraft, and a few other companies that I can't name off the top of my head. But quality pieces of gear, they look cool. It was always one of those things that I was like, man, I really wish I had one of these, but I couldn't really justify the cost on a piece of gear that I wasn't really sure I was going to use that often. So I stumbled on this guy, the Wandering Parson's page on Etsy, and I decided to give it a try. So I just went ahead and sort of had one of those F it moments and, paid it and just let it go. About 6 weeks later, this was sent to me, and I got to tell you that I really couldn't be happier with the performance of this garment, the looks of this garment, and just the overall construction and the features that it has. So we'll go ahead and talk a little bit about that. So like I said, this is made out of a 90-10 wool blend, 90% or 10% polyester, 90% wool. I'm not exactly sure where he sources the material from, if it's from like military blankets or whatnot. There's no real strong smell. It smells like kind of a little bit musty old wool, but not in an off-putting way. It doesn't smell bad by any stretch of the imagination. I've had old military blankets that I keep in my car for emergencies and things like that, and those stink. This does not stink. This smells just like wool, most of the wool garments I've had. You're generally going to have a little bit of odor with wool unless you're buying like a virgin, virgin wool from, the source that it's coming from. It's coming from a local place, or you're buying some sort of, softer wool like merino or something. It's generally going to have a little bit of an odor with these kind of, more raw kind of wool garments. It is a little bit scratchy, but not terrible. Again, it's okay. I wear it with a t-shirt every once in a while. It's a little bit uncomfortable, but it's something I forget about. I don't think too much of it. If I do wear it in the colder temperatures, I'm generally wearing like a long sleeve compression shirt or something underneath of it, or fleece, and I don't feel it anyway. It's rubbing on my neck right now. I don't even feel it. It's the more I wear it, the less that I notice it. So that's just kind of a couple of the features, a couple of the things that were on my mind when I was looking to buy one of these that I was a little bit concerned about. So the smell, there is something there, but it's not bad. The itchiness, it is there, but it's not bad. I don't know what else to tell you. This is a subjective thing. Some people may take a look at this or feel this and think something completely different, but I gotta tell you, it's not been an issue for me at all. The construction is great. The stitching, he's got double stitching in multiple places. You can take a look at this. He's got red stitching in here. I mean, that is just wrapped and wrapped and wrapped and wrapped. And in all of the places that you're gonna have a lot of pulling and everything, just on the inside, there's just a lot of stitching on this. The weight of this is not very heavy. It's very breathable. The fabric is not so thin that you can see light through it. It feels sturdy, it's strong. I've worn this out chopping wood. I've been doing short hikes in it. Most of it's been in the backyard clearing brush. I've been doing a lot of like physical, dirty stuff with this garment around my property. I've been out in the briars. I've been literally clawing my way through, different branches and small patches of brush and things like that, just trying to clear out my property a little bit. And when I'm wearing this, I feel like I'm wearing armor. This is like backwoods armor to me. I feel like I can dig through that stuff. I feel like I can claw through the briars and really get into the woods and just sort of just make love to it. I don't know what else to say. I feel like I can just roll around in the dirt with this thing and lay down on the ground, and I have. Lay down, you pull the hood up, and just look at the stars, and I'm warm in it. I can just, I can cuddle up in this thing, and just, I just feel present and good when I'm wearing this garment. I don't know what else to say. So some of the features, when I originally bought this, it had like a woodland camo color pattern paracord. I just switched it over for trying to think of the color. Doesn't matter. I switched it over for a different color. And just something that was a little bit more subdued. And what it has here is 2 pull strings for the hood, right? Standard. It's got some cord locks on it, pretty big cord locks. And then here is pretty awesome. It's got this gusset that protects your neck from breezes in the cold. And what you can do is tuck that in, take this bottom, and just cinch that up. And then you can hit that with the cord lock if you need to. It shouldn't fall out anyway, but you can hit it with the cord lock just to make sure. And what that does is it snugs that gusset up to you and just keeps that heat inside. It just keeps all the warmth in there. You can throw that hood up. You can tighten that down just a little bit, and it's comfortable. This hood is big. It's not overly big to where it looks ridiculous. Oh my God, I'm overheating already. But it's big, so you can wear a hat underneath of it. You know, you can put this over a helmet if you were, I don't know why you'd be climbing a mountain with this thing on, but you know, if you wanted to, you could. It's certainly durable enough, but it's there if you needed to. So the nice big oversized hood is great. I've laid up in my hammock, you know, in the 20 degrees and just sort of cuddled up with this thing with the hood up, kept the breeze off of my face, and it was just wonderful. Excuse me. Oh Lord! So another feature of this Anorak is the kangaroo pocket here. It goes all the way through, both sides. There's no pockets on the inside. But what he did do here is, I don't know if you can see this, but there's like a good 5-6 inch drop down here before you get to the pocket. So what that allows you to do is to put items in here. And I've had headlamps, knives, lighters, fire starting material. I've collected tinder and just shoved that stuff in there, and have been around my property, again, clearing brush, cutting things down, chopping wood, carrying logs, you know, moving stones and things like that around, playing with my kids, throwing them up on my shoulders, rolling around in the grass, and whatever I've had in here has not fallen out. Everything I've put in here has absolutely stayed in here. Some companies have zipper pockets and things, and I'm just, I don't know. I mean, it's cool if you have it, but I haven't felt like I was missing anything by not having it on this garment. He charges a very fair price for these products, a very fair price for all of his products. He makes wool anoraks of different blends with different features. Some have zippers here instead of this draw cord, if you want to look a little less LARPy. I like the Woods Wizard look because it just looks dope. And he makes canvas anoraks to put over, you know, these anoraks if you want something that you can, you know, you can make like a waxed canvas anorak for like water protection and things like that if you want to go real crazy with it, or rain protection, whatever. He makes belt pouches, wax canvas belt pouches, things like that. Just all kinds of cool stuff. And, you know, again, this guy's making this stuff probably in his basement somewhere, but the construction is just top notch. The materials are good. I'm more than happy with the materials. I'm more than happy with the performance of it. The features so far have been great. So I'll keep going with that. I don't want to bore you with my personal thoughts on that. So one of the other things that this has is a draw cord down here. So this is an anorak. So this isn't like a regular, you know, hoodie that's going to kind of come up to you here. This is an anorak. I am 6'2", 185, 90 pounds, and this is the way that this fits me. Probably not a great view. Let's see if I can back you all up just a hair here and give you a nice view of how this looks. So I'm 6'2", right? That's what you got there. Very fancy. It's a little billowy, right? Which is something that I'm not terribly happy with, but I don't think that is a problem with the manufacturer in any way, shape, or form. This is more just the way that a lot of anoraks are made. I may take it in somewhere to get it taken in just a little bit somehow, somewhere, maybe just an inch or two, just because I like my clothes to be a little bit more form-fitting. But if you're a bigger guy, it's not going to be a problem. By the way, this is a size large. And then when you layer this, this is where this thing really shines, right? You layer this on top of a fleece, and it's incredibly, incredibly warm. I've had this out in some pretty cold temperatures. 20-ish degrees. It hasn't been terribly cold so far this year. I've had it just for fun. I threw my fleece on, my down jacket, and threw this on top of it, and it was like a flippin' inferno. Again, I do a lot of winter camping the past few years, been out in deep snow, single digits, biting winds in the mountains, been stuck on the mountain before. I've been in some crazy situations with some friends of mine. Y'all know who you are. And we are frozen, absolutely frozen out in the mountains. And I got to tell you, I wish I would have had this with me. A piece of gear like this is great. Like I said, it's sort of like backwoods armor. I don't know how else to explain it, man. I put this on and I feel good. I feel like I'm protected against the elements. I really am. I've been out in rain and snow like mixed when it's just like wet and just crappy out, overcast, it's cold. It's just that bone chilling kind of cold. I put this on over just a fleece. I'm not even doing that much physical stuff. I'm taking the dog for a walk, whatever. And I just feel warm. It's just something about it, just being able to cuddle up in it. Like I said, I'm doing a lot of ultralight backpacking and things like that. Or I may have mentioned that, maybe I didn't. But most of the backpacking I'm doing is ultralight backpacking, not, or lightweight. Even in the wintertime, I pack pretty minimally. And, I am used to having these garments with this sort of very cold nylon face to them. And they're fine. They keep me warm. My down jacket keeps me warm. I mean, don't get me wrong. My pants and everything, quick drying stuff, you want that. But in the wintertime, it kind of sucks putting that stuff on because it's cold. And sometimes I feel, I'm a very, almost like emotional type person sometimes, even when I'm backpacking, that I feel like I feel like a cold, like just an emptiness with some of the clothing that I wear. And that's one of the things that sort of I like to keep and have with me when I go backpacking, is that sense of wholeness and almost like emotional, spiritual warmth when I go. That may not make sense. That may be a little woohoo for some people, but whatever. This is me. But a garment like this is something that is warm to the touch. I can cuddle up into it. I can get nice and close to the fire. I don't have to worry about it burning the face of my down jacket. My down jacket's got so many holes in it that I plugged up with pieces of tape and things like that. I can get nice and close to the fire with this garment, right? Because wool is fire resistant. I can really cuddle up to it. I can feel that. I can just really be there. Like I said, with this, I can lay down in the dirt. I can roll around, and I can lay down in the snow and things, and just, it's going to dry quickly. It breathes well. I mean, wool has been used forever as one of the primary outdoor garments, and it's been used for a reason. The technical fabrics that we have these days are great. There's nothing wrong with them. But, me being a lightweight backpacker, I had a hard time wanting to spend money on something that was heavy. But now that I have it, I feel like it's going to be something that I'm always going to bring on my colder trips, even in the fall. I'm going to start bringing this. I don't know what else to say. It's just been great. The fit is good, aside from a little bit of that billowiness, which is just a personal preference. But the cuff, there's no adjustability to the cuff, but this is the size that I would have them, right? They're nice and long. I got these long ape goon arms, but it's nice and long so I can do everything. It doesn't really ride up when I'm moving around. Reaching ahead, I was playing around the other day. I was rocking out some pull-ups and stuff with this on. I was doing bear crawls. I had my ruck on. And I was doing all, going up and down hills and carrying logs and all this stuff. And I actually felt like this performed very well, even in that situation. It breathed very well. I didn't feel like I was overheating. I just had a light shirt on underneath. And it was great. So just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a review-ish thing of this garment. I've had it out. I've used it. I've played around with it. I've yet to take it on some overnight trips, so take that with a grain of salt. But I don't have any suspicion that it's going to perform any differently than the situations I've already put it in. It's been in the cold. It's been in the wet. It's been in the snow. Fires, digging through the dirt, digging through the brush, getting it muddy, getting it dirty, sooty, and just filling this thing with soul, man. But this is just like one of those garments. I'm going to be bringing it with me. It's going to be coming with me for a while. and I think it's going to hold up for a long time. So I feel like this guy is able to probably sell these for a much higher price than he actually is. I don't want to put any ideas in anyone's head, but if you're on the fence about buying some of the other brands, I would definitely take a look at this one too. It's not budget. It's still a little bit expensive, but you're still getting a very, very, very high quality piece of gear. I don't think this is any different than what you're going to be getting from the other companies. Some of the other wool anoraks out there are like $600, $700. I mean, they may be better quality, but are you really going to notice it? I don't think so. It's going to take just as long to get to you. Just a thought. Just a thought. So here we are. Here we are, sitting in my living room wearing this thing. I'm absolutely hot in this thing right now. But that's about it for the features. It's great. I love it. Check it out. It's a Wandering Parson. And again, he's based out of Pennsylvania. And I want to give a shout out to my buddy, a very good friend of mine. He's got a pretty awesome YouTube channel. So check out Hawkeye Hikes, hashtag Hawkeye Hikes. I'm looking at you, man. I'm going to be the woods wizard next time we go on a winter hiking trip. It's going to be fantastic, brother. We're going to get out there. We're going to freeze, and it's going to be great. So you've heard me say enough times in between my sentences. It's time for me to go. I got a few other pieces of gear I'm going to be reviewing pretty soon. You may see some stuff back here. Got my GR1 over here. Awesome piece of kit. I beat the hell out of this thing. And I use it for rucking. I use it for Go Ruck events. And I'm going to be hopefully making a video pretty soon about how I load this thing out just for daily use. And daily use kind of crosses over into my day hiking use, because sometimes I'm not able to plan this stuff and I just have to go when I can go. When you have kids, it just be like that sometimes. And so I have some items in here that pretty much cross over. But I'm also going to show how I set my ruck up for Go Ruck events. If you're not doing Go Ruck events, you're missing out on an opportunity to do some cool stuff with some cool people. And I'm going to put a video here sometime on how I set that ruck up. And then I also got another piece of kit here, which is fantastic. I've had some water just warming up here by the fire. This is the heavy cover titanium canteen. This is my second one because I destroyed my first one. Hiking in the mountains of California, I wanted to ruck and I didn't have any weight, so I filled my backpack full of rocks. And I wanted to take a picture and I dropped it. And this is on the inside, and all the boulders that I had in my backpack just absolutely demolished this thing, and it broke it, and it wasn't any good anymore. So this is my second one. Awesome company. These are expensive, they are pricey, but it's just cool. These things are great. It's very classic, it's very old school. I look like a goon when I'm drinking out of it at work. Everyone's like, oh, were you in the military? No, I was in the military. I just like this stuff. It just fits in your hand very well. So I'll talk about that a little bit later. And then I also got a new knife. This is the highest quality knife from LT Wright. This is their one of their Bushcrafter high carbon knives. I'm not a huge fan of high carbon, but I decided to try it. I am kind of on a budget right now, right? So this is a very affordable knife, but so far, this thing has been doing great. I'm used to a Scandi grind on a knife, and this is like a flat-ish grind with a convex edge at the end. But I gotta tell you, I've been beating the shit out of this knife, excuse my language. And this thing has been performing absolutely amazingly. So I'm gonna put out a little something about that later. So that's pretty much it, guys. I just wanna thank you for checking out this review. I saw nothing about this on YouTube, barely. And I thought that it deserved its own video. I'm sorry that you had to look at my face. I'm sorry that you had to hear my voice. I'm sorry that you had to hear me ramble on for 21 minutes and 25 seconds. Peace out.